second, Ken.
George,
No, but I've
this
seen
is
you
Jessica,
again,
who's the
yeah.
person.
How are you?
Oh,
Nice to meet
well,
you.
thanks, I see you.
Ed, George. So. All right, Ed,
Yes, ma'am.
go ahead.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be doom and gloom. I'll attempt not to be. We're still feeling the effects of China and everything that they've done with recycling and all that over the last year. You've got my narrative, I think, there.
That's how I.
It's,
Is it this one?
They were in the order of presentation.
Yeah, I know, I kind of messed it up.
what's up there?
This one, right? Starts with update from?
Yep.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, okay.
I like the copy, yeah.
I did find a couple of typos on it in the numbers side of it, so as I get down through it, I'll give you the new.
Okay,
The spreadsheet is correct.
okay,
Some of the numbers on the narrative are off.
all right.
It should have been, it's okay on the spreadsheet.
So,
Sorry about that.
what I'd like to propose, and what I'm gonna get is two different things, I realize this, but we'll start out here. Last year, I think we did a 2% raise
Mhm.
to everyone. Proposing 3 or whatever you folks decide to do this year, I probably could have left that off and just left that for whatever you folks wanna do, but that's kinda where I'd like to see it go. The starting rate for the employees over there right now is $11 an hour. I'd like to work in the next couple of years to get that up 12 to 13. You can't even flip hamburgers now for $12 an hour practically, so. I mean, it's not brain surgery over there, but for being the contact of the people, you know, they do like what they're doing. You know, it wouldn't hurt to get that up some.
They're also extremely helpful,
Yes,
which,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have to give them that.
They've all got a smile on their face, they're right there to help, you know, take bags out of cars and
Yep.
help with the recycling and all that, so.
You're saying it's below market, what is the market rate?
It should be somewhere up around 13.
Okay,
Yeah, so we're a couple of bucks low right now,
okay.
you know, as a starting pay.
Now, is starting pay, is that based on a part-time position or a full-time position?
That's based on the part-time. that
On a
they-
part-time,
Yeah,
yeah.
not 16 hours a week that they work.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bill, it's 15, I think.
Are they?
Transfer station, so,
for part-time employees?
yeah, do all that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So, I do have one employee over there, I'm not gonna use any names, but I got one guy that has been there 4+ years.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty obvious when you go over, you'll see the face you've seen all along. Last year, he did get the 2%, which brought him to 1122. He also works a little bit with us at Highway, so he bounces back and forth, which poses a little bit of a problem, because he's at 1122 over there, but starting pay at Highway is 35. So, to our transfer station, I won't say he gets a cut in pay, because that's where he started,
Mhm.
you know, so. But I'd like to get him up to the 1435.
In a one-time shot?
In a one-time shot, where he does work back and forth, he does hold a CDL, truck license. He does run the equipment over there, he can run the skid steer, he can work the balers. He comes in right now, I won't say on his own, because he always gets paid to come in, but he comes in, he helps me make the bales of plastic. He makes he works in the cardboard building, does all that. And he can pretty much do everything over there in my absence, because I'm 90% over at Highway.
Mhm.
You know, I oversee what's going on over there, and I do that, you know, as much as I can. But I'd like to try to get him up if we could. It's a difference of, I didn't bring the note that had the actual increase, but it's around, I think it's under $2,500 to get him up.
How many hours is that one?
It's still, that's still based on 16 hours, yeah. Yeah, I didn't write down the actual increase, but
There is a difference between a highway worker and a transfer station worker.
there is, but he is also one that can flip-flop both ways. In his past life, he worked for the state of New Hampshire Department of Transportation, doing road work.
Mhm.
So he can help us do flagging, he can help us drive trucks.
He's been out plowing.
Yeah,
It's a difference of $2,604
there
every
you go,
year.
okay. So,
Okay, thank
and
you.
I did reflect that in my budget, if you wish to do that. So, then, that 35,056,
It is,
it is in there,
and 3% for the others.
yes. And I did not figure 3% for him, because if he's gonna get that, he's not gonna get 3% on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And as far as the 3%, that's, like I said, that's totally up to you folks. 1%, 2, 3, 10, whatever. So, but the number is,
Did you say 10?
that must
That's what I
have,
thought
that
you
must have
said.
just slipped out, I'm sorry. I also have a habit of only being serious for so long, so, just ask George, drives him nuts. So, but that's, he's the one employee that, over there, that has been there the longest and is capable of doing everything, including helping us at highway. So,
So if he's been there the longest, and it's $11 an hour,
Yeah.
why is he only up 22 cents than above
I-
everyone else?
other than last year, I can't tell you.
Because the starting rate was only $11 an hour for 2 years now. So everybody who was pre-existing got bumped up to $11 an hour.
Yeah,
Nobody else that's there now experienced that, and then he got one across the board increase since then.
I don't know what it was prior to last year.
Probably 1072 and 1050 before that. The base pay used to be, the entering wage used to be $10.50. And then it was bumped up to $11. So he probably started at 1050
Mhm.
and went to 1072 and then got bumped up to 11 and then 1122.
Okay, so he did, we've always given the transfer station employees raises, like everyone else in town?
Whatever the across the
Okay,
board is,
okay,
yes.
Okay,
So, that's where I'll leave that. Like I say, he can do it all, so, as far as everything over there, and assist us as well, so. Moving down, supplies. Basically on my narrative, I just went over the things that I'm seeing increases in. So, supplies are up, I've gotta buy, in most cases, I have to buy these large boxes to put the paper in. They're $10 a piece, used. They're called a Gaylord, they're about 4 foot square. So we get those, baling wire, just the wire to do the cardboard bales and the plastic bales, aluminum bales. It's about $100 per roll or per group of which you buy. Training,
can we go back there?
sure.
Why did you double it or over doubled it? You went up $300.
Mostly in the boxes. I gotta buy the boxes to put the glass bulbs in as well.
So you didn't have to do that before?
We did, but I don't know where the numbers were hidden before. I shouldn't say hidden, but I've broken out a lot of things differently, so it's more transparent and it's there.
Okay,
Let's see.
So we didn't used to be buying boxes for mixed paper because it
We
was
didn't.
part of single stream.
Right.
The boxes for bulbs, on the slim occasions they happened, probably came from highway
are you
supply.
talking like fluorescent bulbs? Is
Yes.
that was on, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Until they get shipped out, and then the baling wire is just an increased expense because we're baling more than we used to bale.
Okay.
Right. And I'd forgotten the part about, we didn't need those Gaylords. We needed them, but they were for electronics,
Yeah,
for anything like that.
so
So
it
we,
was less.
yeah, we were
Yeah.
using, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 a year, probably 15 maybe.
Mhm.
And the company that we got those from, that we deal with that, it's North Coast, they're out of Portsmouth.
Mhm.
They would exchange them. So if I gave them 5, they give me 5.
Oh, so you didn't have to
But I
pay
didn't
the
have to buy
second
'em,
time?
right.
Okay,
Right.
you had to buy
But-
the first 5?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But for the paper, the mixed paper, we do have to buy those. Because once they're gone, the majority of them are gone. And we have to buy them back again. So, because they end up going to different places, not always the same recycling facility. So, anything else there?
I just wanna go back for a minute, I'm sorry,
Sure.
Ed. Your spreadsheet didn't calculate payroll taxes correctly. So payroll taxes based on the figure that Ed is providing is $2,682, 2682, which is an increase of $272.
This information I didn't have.
You didn't have it, and
No.
I apologize, it just didn't, you know,
What's
the
the difference
2410,
again? What's the difference again?
$272.
Okay, thank you.
The 24, you know, you'll see that the payroll taxes are the same as the previous year, they just didn't get adjusted.
Okay.
Which will adjust, that'll make the bottom line different. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Training, since we have this right now. Everybody that works at the transfer station by New Hampshire state law has to have a certificate to work there. In other words, they've gone, they've taken their 8-hour class, they passed the test at the end of it, and they have that. The class, I don't believe, costs us anything.
Typically not, although it depends on what the option is that we choose.
Yeah, so it's the class, it's the operator's license that they have to have. Right now, everyone over there has it, including George and myself.
Okay.
So, now in order to keep that, you have to have, I believe it's 3 hours of training every year. Doesn't sound like much, and it really isn't. It's a couple of meetings at NRRA, Northeast Regional Recycling, whatever it stands for. They're the outfit that we use to ship a lot of the things that we ship, plastics, cardboard. They help with finding homes for all that and regulatory information for us and a number of different things. So it's it's going to their office twice, because you get an hour and a half of credit each. They do have a conference in Manchester every year, and I've been sending 2 people. Last year, nobody went with me. Last year it was just me, because it was all brand new to me. So last year was me. This past year, it was myself and Paul Martell that went. Next year, hopefully it'll be myself and Paul Eames going. Take someone different every year, but I like to go every year. There's a lot of good information there. So that does cost to go. So there is an increase in there for dues and conferences. It's up $290. I base that on just taking an extra person up there and some additional training or an additional hire if we need to get them some additional training. So. The phone is now part of the highway, so we're eliminating the phone budget of $420. So that's coming off. MSW, municipal solid waste. I can lower that number a little bit only because we've taken glass out of it. Well, glass was part of single stream, so it never ended up in there. Let's see. It's partly because of the recycling effort. We've been going back and forth the last couple of days, Caroline and myself, looking at numbers. And that and the recycling side of things, or the demo side of things, I won't say it's a shot in the dark, it's an educated shot in the dark. We have had some significant increases this year in our recycling and in our demo and the MSW. They're up. Stupidly, I did not bring the note with me that had the increases on it, but the projected, well, let me go by 6 months, because that's what I worked on today for both last year and this year. And we're up about almost 40 ton this year from last. Okay, right now it's $38.50 a ton to get rid of. So, that's up a couple $1,000, and that's just 6 months. So I tried to project this out without getting too heavy-handed on it, but try to get it to a number that I felt would carry us through the year. Then again, I thought last year's number would carry us through the year, and we're looking at a little bit of a shortfall there, but
But it was more expensive to do what we're doing now versus single stream, right?
I believe
So the
that,
change in that
The
could
whole-
account for this.
yeah. Yeah, I
Different
can't,
overage, right?
yeah, it's very hard to do apples and apples this year versus last year.
Because you changed it.
Yeah, yeah, we got rid of the
Right.
single stream, we went to,
But even though we're overexpending, we would overexpend way more if we were still a single stream.
right,
So we're saving money over what we could be doing,
Right,
but demo's up about 50%. And we're doing a lot more hauls. Hauling is about fully expended for demo and MSW for the year now. So that means it's probably gonna be a third.
no, the demo is, based on building permits that were done and people are bringing their demo to the transfer station, right? Isn't that what that is?
yeah, it's
It's something
in-
you're doing and you're
like
bringing it.
rebuilding a deck,
Yeah.
all your old deck materials, could be a couch,
Mhm.
could be
Oh, you
mattresses.
consider that demo as
It's all
well?
part of the demo.
Okay,
Mattresses and things like that go
Are
into
considered
demo
demo
as
as well?
well.
Yeah.
But it's
Oh,
not
okay.
directly correlated to building permits.
no, I know, but I wondered if our
But-
building permits were higher this year than they were last year.
Possibly, but there are two things. It's worth I'll let Ed speak to it, but it's worth a complete restructuring of how we handle demo.
And I have down through here, I got a little note on that.
Okay,
And might help with the income side of things,
okay.
with the demo. Excuse me. So the MSW, I've got it from 43,000, dropping that to 37. So there was, and I've gone over those numbers numerous times, wondering why, but I think part of it is the recycling. So I've looked at all the numbers from last year on the MSW, added them all up, multiplied the numbers out. I think the 37 is gonna be an okay number. And that's just the disposal, that's not the hauling of it, it's just to get rid of it. So, I did put a little bit of a buffer in there, so I do feel that will hold steady.
Could you explain for me, please? I don't know, like, what lamprey means, municipal
Sure.
solid waste, I imagine it's just like a trash bag.
MSW is anything, your kitchen waste, basically, anything that you throw in the
Compact.
top of the hill,
Yes.
if you will, left or right,
Mhm.
whichever one we're using, anything you throw in there. Is
Okay.
those fully enclosed containers that packs it in,
Mhm.
that's the MSW.
And what's tipping?
Tipping is the fee you pay to have it, to get rid of
The
it.
per ton charge.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Lamprey is a regional cooperative that we are a member of. Lamprey, there are 13 communities, have a contract together with Waste Management that allows us to bring, and requires that we bring all of our trash to Waste Management in Rochester.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And by having that contract, once a month I get a printout from NRRA that has all the fees or what they pay, what we could get for income for what we get rid of. The MSW side is anywhere between $70 and $120 a ton on the open market. We're locked in. Right now, we're locked in at $68.50 a ton. Next year, it goes up about $69.50. So
You're locked in for an entire year.
we're locked in for another 7 years, aren't we?
Yes,
With
incremental
projected-
increases.
yes.
Right, but
yeah.
is it a dollar increase a year?
I don't know that it exactly is, I have
Okay,
to
I
check.
haven't
It is
seen that
going to
contract, so-
$69.50 for MSW and demo.
Right.
Next year.
We pay the same for both,
Mhm.
so, which is really a good deal,
Mhm.
you know? None of it's a good deal, but it's
But
halfway protected.
But they can do that because they have so many communities that are part of it, right? Is
Well,
that
because
why-
we got this 10-year contract that
Right.
requires and mandates that we're sending all our trash there, so they have a guaranteed certain amount of business.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why you're getting that. If you just did your one on your own,
If we tried to
you
do
might
it
be
on
in
our own,
trouble.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you'd be
Yeah.
paying a lot of money,
Yeah,
yeah. The, so on the MSW side, as a rule, we send one per week. One of those cans per week gets dumped. That's monitored by the guys that are up there collecting the trash. They hit the button to compact it in, there's a gauge they watch, the pressure. When it gets up into the high zone and it says, we're full, that's how they tell. So those cans go full when they go. And the average is about 11 tons per can. And we've had nines, I think we had 1 8, but we've had nines, we've had some 12s and 13s. The average is right around 11, so that is the absolute best way of knowing when they're full.
Mhm.
Those definitely go full. Not that anything else doesn't either, but those we know. So that's why it's a little bit easier to project that out and predict what it's gonna be.
There's no fee per load bringing it's just per ton, right?
It's per ton, yeah, but it does cost us $225 to have it hauled.
Got it.
That's per haul.
Load.
Whether it's the MSW or whether it's the demo,
Got it.
so,
In which you can pick your own provider for hauling,
yes.
you just, it
Yeah.
has to go with.
Yeah, Lamprey did have their own company,
Yeah,
their own
the
hauler.
truck went
But-
bad, right, yeah.
The two things went bad, the gentleman doing it and the truck,
Yeah.
so, yeah. So we use, right now we use Triano
Mhm,
out of South Portland, Westbrook,
mhm,
somewhere up that way.
mhm.
And they became a hauler last July. It's worked out really well. They're right there when I call them. I've had a couple of times this past year where I had to call them with my begging voice. And they were very accommodating, took care of what we needed, came right down. They do haul usually within 24 hours. So tomorrow afternoon, I'll be calling them. Once I know, at noontime tomorrow, I'll know what our demos look like. I know right now, my lower MSW is full, but I won't call them until they can come and possibly make 2 hauls in a day. So tomorrow afternoon time, I'll know what our demos look like, whether I gotta have them dumped before Saturday or not. And I'll call them tomorrow afternoon, they'll be here either Thursday or Friday and haul, so. Let's see, so anyway, we average 2.5 hauls per week. That's what I'm using as an average number. So some weeks we haul 3. We'll haul the MSW and we'll haul 2 demos. Some weeks we'll haul the MSW and no demos. Some weeks we'll haul 1 demo. So, but we always haul an MSW. I think we had twice this past year that we didn't. And it wasn't quite full. So I wasn't gonna ship it out without making sure. And they may only go 2 hours on a Saturday and it's full,
Mhm,
but the other one's empty.
mhm.
So, and one empty one will take them right through Saturday with no issues whatsoever, so. Let's see. And then, okay, down to recycling hauling. I've got $1,000,
$1,000.
proposed $1,000. That's for hauling the plastic and the mixed paper. That number may or may not work, based on a conversation I had about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I've got a lot of plastic over there that's getting just about ready to go. So I called NRRA to find out what's the pricing, what's it gonna look like. A lot of these companies are charging now a flat $400 to haul. I had mixed paper hauled last week. They hauled, I don't have the tonnage number, but it was $400 to have that hauled. The plastic, I was not impressed with this afternoon, and I got that, like I said before, I wasn't able to update this. The plastic that we have right now, it's 1 through 7 plastic, so it's everything there is. They quoted me 4 cents per pound to get rid of it. Because 1s and 2s we can get paid for. 1 through 7 is a cost. And 3 to 7 would be a cost if I pulled the 1s and 2s out. But right now it's all mixed. So it's 4 cents a pound. Doesn't sound like much till you add it up. It's $80 a ton. Our trash is $68.50 a ton. It's cheaper to throw it away,
Okay.
but you're not recycling.
Some-
It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, so
Do you get tax credits for recycling?
I don't, no, I don't believe so. No, I haven't seen anything to that effect.
But we're
There's one.
recycling, which is
We are
not,
recycling,
we have a
Yeah.
recycling facility, but
Right. right.
if plastic went in there, I mean.
Well,
it
The
makes
the
sense
flip
to do
side
that.
is, if I take it and I put if we decide, okay, we're not gonna pay the $80 plus the 400 to ship it, per ton, and we throw it away, now we've upped the MSW
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah,
So,
or,
So
The next-
recycle 1 and 2s.
I was
That's
I
the
was just
next-
gonna say,
that's-
so one and
That's what he
twos,
said.
that's what we exactly were
Yeah.
working on, we brainstormed like this, about 4 o'clock this afternoon, I got the email from Heather at NRRA, and this is the girl that you and I met with. And it originally came back at 5 cents, and I said, she had said if it was baled, I said, oh, wait a minute, it's baled. Well, it dropped a penny, so you save $20 a ton, which, a ton, that's significant. So, so the next step is to split it and try to get our folks to pull the 1s and 2s out.
what is a one and two,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
What-
don't know.
So
I'm still learning
plastic
all this.
Yeah,
It's what
Ones and
plastic's
twos.
made of.
that's
Yeah.
probably
And
five.
HPDE,
Yeah.
I think, the content of HPDE.
Yes, yeah.
so is it like
Typically,
the
it's
laundry ones?
Milk jugs,
Yeah,
laundry bottles.
yeah,
I know there's some others in there. I don't believe it's your
it's your
little,
more heavier ones, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So like your Poland Spring water bottles
I
wouldn't be that?
don't think that's, no,
Okay,
that's,
so those are the ones
that's
that are-
the PETE.
Sevens.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and that's that's a high price to get rid of.
Yeah,
It's the
but it's
same
more,
at restaurants sometimes, when you'll see, they'll break out like recycling plastic, but then they'll say water bottles in this one.
Yeah.
Because it's more expensive, they'll just
Yeah.
probably just throw it away.
they'll throw it, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more you have your laundries and
Yes.
all of those kind of
Yeah,
things.
they actually can make different things out of that. It's more bulk and like you said, it's heavier,
Mhm.
so. And it can be colored bottles, the colored laundry bottles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be clear,
Mhm.
so. Now, in breaking it out, we gotta make the place for it, which I think we can do.
Well, you would still do the other ones?
Well, that would be the thing.
What is the cost of 3 through 7 alone?
If you throw it away, it's gonna be
65.
$68.50.
Right,
If you throw it the other way, and that's something I haven't got an email back yet on. Like I said, this was all late this afternoon. I had emailed her yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning, to try to get these numbers, just to see what it was gonna cost to get rid of that. So I gotta find out 3 through 7. My guess is it's gonna be the 4 cents. It may even be higher because the company that's accepting the 1 through 7 can't pull out the 1s and 2s. So they got nothing in there they've got to find a home for 3 through 7. So,
So you still have to bail it though too,
yes,
if you save both of them, you're gonna have two different bales, so to
Right.
say.
right. So I'll have more information on that as we move forward here a little bit,
Yeah.
the next day or two.
But you possibly should probably do your recycling back to what it was, I would think.
Take it back to the,
Well, I don't know.
yeah, and like I said,
don't-
that was a number I got today, and it was like, oh boy, you know, So-
I mean, we have a little bit of time, so we
We
can
still
still
gotta
wait.
find out
Yeah.
if they're
Let's see
throwing
what you-
that away, you know?
that's
If
the other
they're
thing.
throwing it
If
away,
they're throwing it away,
they're
It is
throwing away your bailing
if they're taking the 3 through 7s
and
and
tossing it.
tossing it,
Then
and
why
pulling
aren't
out
we
the
doing
good,
it?
yeah.
Because we're bailing it, which costs us time and money,
Yeah.
and then we're costing
We're
more.
waiting to find out that.
Okay,
Yes.
would they tell you that? I mean,
sometimes,
They will.
yeah, yeah.
NRRA will, yeah,
Okay.
they're
'Cause-
real good.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, it doesn't make sense, if they're gonna throw it away, people might as well put it
we
in
just
their
mind
trash.
about throwaway
Yeah.
as well, because you're wasting more time by bailing
Right.
it for one.
Right,
So
We can
just
just bail
bail
those
your
other two.
bigger ones,
Yep. Yep.
your other numbers
Yep.
there. Yeah, I mean, we have some time, so you can
Yep.
get us better answers
Mhm.
within the next week.
and I will,
Whenever you, or at least give it through to Caroline and
Sure.
let us know, but one way or the, or you can come back and see us too,
Sure.
but yeah, we'll just leave it the way it is right now and just
okay.
say follow-up.
Yep.
All right.
So, for clarity, are we moving that back to 2,500? Is that what
I
you're
would say
saying?
let's wait and see what he has to say,
All right, okay.
because it might, we may have to increase one other one if we're gonna throw it away.
It's fine, I just
and
wanna
make
make
Exactly,
sure,
we
You
have
know,
to-
so,
yeah, we have to
let's
bring the
find out
MSW
before,
up
but we'll just leave it what he
back to
has
where
right
it
now.
was.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
also not sure about the MSW went up because some people are not recycling. You don't know that in dark bags.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
they're not sorting.
Well,
But-
that's true,
But
that's
the
true.
flip is, we're still only sending one can a week.
Mhm.
So prior to me taking
Three through
on.
seven, that's light, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
bulky,
Yeah.
but
Right.
Are lots
So-
of people recycling after leaving single stream?
I think they are, yeah.
Less people?
What's-
No, I think they're recycling really well.
The same?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to tell because we've broken it into all these different groups now,
Mm-hmm.
but,
But trash tonnage hasn't changed dramatically, it's really more the demo tonnage, right?
right,
So
I
just
think
that the
we're probably
tonnage is
kinda
about
doing
level,
the
I
Yeah.
think
same
is.
with what they
Yeah.
were before, because I
Yeah.
mean, when
It
I
doesn't take
go, I
long to
see
fill a
them.
bin, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
no,
Especially
No.
with plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
bulky in
So
itself.
that's how much faster you
Yeah.
go, the single streams.
Yeah,
right. I mean, the single streams, we were pounding that down with the backhoe every day we were open.
mhm,
You know, we were packing that just as full as we could get it,
mhm.
so, yeah.
All right,
I
yeah.
wish I had numbers from past years,
Mm.
but I don't know whether our MSW was getting hauled completely full, or,
It was not, because that's why when we bonded the transfer station renovations, we got a second compactor for exactly that reason, because they weren't full
okay,
hauls, so you weren't maximizing the haul fee.
Because they had to make sure they had
Had
a
an
really
empty one for
open, empty
Saturday.
one
Yeah.
on Saturday when most
Yeah.
people come.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want to risk not
Right.
having that ability
Right.
and have to shut down the station, so.
Right.
and
It
I've
was
always,
reason, now you have two, so
Yeah.
there's definitely a,
There's a savings there, whether, yeah.
right,
yeah,
yeah.
and I've got 3 of those cans, 2 of them are hooked to the machines, there's always an empty spare sitting there.
Mhm.
So if something really happened, if I had a breakdown on one machine, the other one was full, I can come in,
We can
swap
check.
it,
We can
swap the
check
cans
that.
around and make sure there's an empty one there, so.
That
So
will
there's-
compact it as well?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's always one can there that's empty for the compactors. It's kind of the insurance policy.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
I'm big on making sure there's backups.
Yeah.
So, and it's sitting there, it's not costing us anything to have it sit there, so. Yep.
Okay.
Let's see, maintenance on the equipment on the next page. I did bring that up a little bit, because we did add the plastic, the baler that we do plastic and aluminum with. So I just upped that by the cost of what it costs to have it serviced a year, so which is around a little over $400. So, and that's been working pretty well. Let's see. This is where we'd like to talk about maybe changing how we do the demo. We visited Lee, New Hampshire, a couple of months ago, and they do it. We charge by the item, or by the pickup truckload, which is someone's interpretation of what you're throwing away. You can come in with a truckload of feathers, or a truckload of bricks. I shouldn't say bricks, because we don't put bricks in there, I got another home for bricks. Mattresses, for instance. You know, something that you can have a truckload of wood or a truckload of mattresses. Mattresses are gonna take up more space than the wood is, because we can crush the wood, the mattresses you can't crush.
Mhm.
So the thought is to maybe, and do like they did, they actually do it by pound.
Mhm.
They charge by the weight. Everything we throw away is done by weight. Everything we truck out is done by weight, by the ton. So why not charge what comes in by the pound? Anywhere between 7 and 10 cents a pound, just as a number. We put some numbers together back along just to see what it was gonna look like. Could be upwards of 10 cents a pound. So someone comes in with what would, front steps to a house, for instance. I don't know exactly what it would weigh, but rather than paying $35 for a small pickup truckload, they may pay a little more based on the weight of the wood. Because we're putting that in the dumpster, in the bin, to get rid of it.
That would be
Some
fair for
other
everybody.
options, some other, yeah.
do more interference.
Yeah, when I went to the conference this past May, I talked to a company up there that sells scales, Fairbanks scales. And they are, to buy a 4 foot by 4 foot, I don't wanna, the ideal thing would be something you drive on, but that's not affordable. So a 4 foot by 4 foot scale, electronic scale, is roughly it's about $1,600. It's just slightly lower than that, it's like $1,585. So $1,600 for a set of scales. Electronic scales, brand new, gives you the readout, so you know exactly what it is. Through New Hampshire the Beautiful, through NRRA, we can get upwards of a 50% grant for those
Are they indoors or outdoors?
indoors. They should have a cover over them. They're electronic, so the scales themselves aren't gonna be affected by weather, but the control unit would.
Okay.
So I've gotta have a little spot to put it, so.
Could-
I haven't
then
figured that one-
You're emptying and you're reloading, and emptying and reloading.
Right.
That
It's
is
a
gonna
little
make people
more-
a little angry.
It's a little more, it's a little more manpower.
Yeah,
But what I would have would be something on the scales that someone could come in, they put a dozen items in it. I know what the weight of it is that they're putting in,
yeah,
okay? It's not full. You hit zero, it zeroes out the scales based on what's sitting in it. The next person comes in, throws into it, now I know what they've thrown out. They'll
So
see
you
the,
keep adding to it, but
you keep
zeroing
adding
it
to
out
it
every
until you
time.
get it to time to take it over and dump it in the bin.
What's the capacity of them?
It's whatever I wanna make. Oh, the capacity of the scales, I think, are 5,000 pounds. So,
so, okay.
I still got some more logistics to work
You'd
out.
be
in
unloading
this.
it into one another dumpster, and we'd be dumping it into the.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I
It
guess
would
I'm
slow the
saying,
process up a little,
it is gonna slow the process up, but
but I think it would be more cost effective for everybody.
Well, and it's just fairer.
Exactly.
I get that part,
Yeah.
I just wanna, I don't understand the logistic part of it, so
logistics.
tell me
It
the
doesn't
logistic
sound
part,
We've
are you
gotta
gonna
work-
put it in the barn where the cardboard is? Are you gonna put it in undercover and somewhere else
I
out
think I'd
there?
have to have it out somewhere in the area of the cardboard building, but the scales themselves would be outside. Whether I do a shed roof over it, something like that, that's cheap and easy to do. But have the control unit inside. The control unit needs to be, or the readout needs to be where the customer can see it,
Yeah,
so they can see what it is. Because they wanna know what,
but see, if you're putting it over there, you have to unload it,
they're gonna have to
then
swing
you have
over.
to gonna load it back up and go over there.
No,
Oh,
No, where's it gonna be disposed of?
No.
We will dispose of it.
We'll dispose of it.
So you're gonna have a big pile of gunk?
No, it's in a,
It'll be in like a little mini dumpster on top of the scales.
So you put a mini
Big box.
dumpster on the scales and then you zero out the tear weight, so
Yeah.
it thinks
And
there's
move
no
it.
You
weight
have
in
an
it.
8-foot couch, you're gonna put that in there?
You could set it on top of it, in
Oh,
which case,
And then you're gonna
in
go,
which case they just come over with the skid steer, pick it up with the forks and take it over and dump it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a little more work,
I'm
it's a little
looking-
more
Okay, so the
but-
customer is only going to be putting it from
once.
once,
Yeah,
and-
once the
okay.
customer puts it in there, they're done with it. We
Okay,
take it from there.
but are you looking for additional manpower as well?
Well, in my budget, in my budget from last year,
Uh-huh,
there was an additional person that I have not hired yet.
okay,
And I probably won't hire for the rest of this year, till
okay.
I see where our MSW is gonna, or our demo plays out.
I mean, there's already someone working demo.
Yeah,
Well, it's the
Yeah.
person in the barn.
he's,
Yeah,
yeah,
go in the
he's in
hardwood.
doing the
He
cardboard.
pays them and then they go and dump it,
Right,
right? I
right,
mean,
so he hasn't
We
seen the
don't-
person
with the
anyway.
Yeah, we don't have somebody, because we don't have the manpower to be doing that right now.
Doing what right now?
It's someone at the demo all the time.
Right, so
that's-
he's looking at what's in the, whatever, in his pickup truck or something, he's charging him accordingly of what he
Right.
sees in the pickup truck, and then he's gonna go and dump it.
He collects the money, the pickup
And then
truck
they go
goes
and
and
dump it.
gets rid of
Okay.
it, so, yeah, there is a couple of logistics to work out there, but I think we
Okay.
can do it.
So is this
So-
in your budget here, the scale?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yes,
It seems
Looks like
to,
it's in equipment and
Yeah.
maintenance.
yeah,
There's another benefit
Yeah.
with the scale, is
Add scales
we
for
can
the
weigh
second
everything that
possible
goes
demo.
out, and you'll know it's being gone.
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
The other benefit with the scale is you can weigh your bales and know exactly what you're shipping all the time.
right, our cardboard, our
Oh, your
aluminum,
baling
our,
stuff?
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you don't know?
we
They
don't
have
have
no
any
way
way
of
of,
knowing.
You have no way of
we can't
knowing?
weigh 'em.
Okay,
I'm going to take a bale of plastic, back up a smidge. We've been baling plastic now since January.
mm-hmm,
I've got 22 bales sitting there as of this afternoon.
mm-hmm,
There's another one in the machine right now, as I call marinating.
mm-hmm.
To make these plastic bales, you need to let them sit a minimum of 4 to 5 plus hours in the machine, compacted. 24 hours is what we've been doing. We did do one this afternoon at 5 hours. Hopefully it holds together.
Is it less time if it's warmer out?
Doesn't seem to make a difference. No,
The air,
No.
it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, plastic has a memory. You know, you squish a bottle, you let go of it, it comes back. Now, if you take this much of it and you squish it to here, it's gonna come back. As it tries to go back, what it does, it actually breaks the bands that we put around it,
Oh,
and it makes quite a mess.
mm,
This whole plastic baling has been quite a learning curve,
mhm,
but I think we've conquered it.
okay.
And with the help, go back to Lee, with the help of Lee, New Hampshire, and NRRA, they've really helped us through it. I met a gentleman at the NRRA meeting that was the superintendent that ran the Lee Recycling Facility, our transfer station, and we went over and talked to him. He since has moved on. His predecessor, the new guy coming in, ended up being someone I knew from just life.
Mhm,
So, the tables have now switched, I'm helping him.
mhm.
So, and I think in some of this, we're gonna be able to share some loads as well. So if I don't have a full load of plastic, and he doesn't have a full load of plastic, we can ship it all together.
Mhm,
But I also need to know, what am I shipping weight-wise?
mhm,
I hate to rely on someone else.
mhm.
I don't even like relying on the freight companies.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm sure what they do is honest, they run through certified scales and all that, but
Mhm,
it's just better to know.
mhm.
So, the aluminum that we're doing, that's probably one of the better things in this whole recycling thing. We get paid anywhere between 20 and 35, we have been paid between 20 and 35 cents per pound to sell aluminum. We take it over to Berwick Iron, so it's like a 3-mile ride. If we saved up a trailer load, we could get more money, but it's not worth, we don't have the facilities to store it.
Mhm.
And once we make it, I can take 3 bales over there, get a check for $250 to $400, bring it back, and there you go. So, easy and done. And that's what those have been averaging.
Mhm.
So, the income from that's been pretty well. The tin cans, we tried baling tin. It was difficult to bale because you can't compact it as well and as easy.
Mhm,
They're just as happy to take it over at Berwick loose. It pays the same amount.
mhm.
So the last time we did that, I took it over in the big dump truck. Put it in, covered it, and off we went.
Mhm.
It didn't pay a lot, but I think I
It
made,
didn't cost us anything.
I think I made,
Right.
yeah, I think I made 3 trips over there and got just under $40.
Yeah,
But it's no big deal, it's 3 miles away. You know,
Right.
It was
right.
a 9-mile ride, and like you say, it didn't cost us anywhere near.
You got
68,
40 versus
50.
paying 69, whatever.
Yes,
so,
exactly. And
yeah.
anytime I can either break even
Yeah,
or get a little extra,
yeah,
that's a good thing,
it's a win.
and that's what we do.
Mhm,
They also take our batteries, our lead acid batteries,
mhm,
the little batteries, we do have to pay to get rid of those
mhm,
through North Coast, but that's all into the budget with light bulbs and all that, so.
mhm.
So back on the scale side of things, I'm looking around the yard there, trying to find the best place for it, to keep the flow
Mhm.
the way it should be. Whether it means putting a little 4x4 shack over towards the demo, or however it works, that's all minor dollar stuff, it's,
Mhm.
you know. But I do think that may be the way to go.
Is
with
there a
that.
time frame on the grant? Like,
No, they do grants every 3 months.
okay.
So, the next one, we did one in August, I think October, maybe the next one. So, I've actually got the paperwork all filled out, ready to go, I just haven't approached.
But how
Highway
long
to
does
get
it,
the money.
if you got it, you mean October of this year?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, would
which
it be
means-
good into 2020 though?
our equipment fund.
What's that?
We have money in the equipment fund.
we're just watching the dollars to see,
Waiting to see what, we get the final money.
yeah, see where things fall out, you know, before we pull the trigger on it and say, yeah, we want to do it, just to make sure we've got everything in place for it before
Yeah.
we
Okay.
jump into it.
Okay.
The nice thing is, when I talked to the gentleman at the show, and he sent me the quote, he told me what it was gonna cost, and he sent me the quote. I'm like, I was thinking they were $4,000 or $5,000.
Mhm.
In my past life, that's what scales and whatnot cost,
Mhm.
but I was backing forklifts on them. I needed scales that would do 20,000-30,000 pounds.
Mhm.
This is a 5,000 pound, so I don't ever see us overfilling it, you know, and I'm not gonna design where it sets, so you can back a piece of equipment on it.
Mhm.
It's gonna be guarded against that,
Mhm.
because the temptation would be there for those that don't know.
Mhm.
So, I don't think it would destroy it, but it may throw it out of calibration, and
Mhm.
let's just avoid that. We don't need to be there, so. So that's something you may see later on this year, if we have the money in the equipment fund, that may work, and you folks want to approve it, so. I have been told that there is up to 50%. Normally, they do 20% on their grants that they do. Scales, containers, I think was the other thing, that they will go up to 50 on, so. And they do work with this particular company on that grant, so it's all kind of intertwined. And of course, we'd have to decide, though, I'd actually like to have the scales regardless of whether we change how we do demo, because it will tell us what we're shipping out for recycling, so. Brush chipping. Brush chipping didn't go quite as well as we'd hoped it would, because last year we changed to, rather than having it hauled off, to chipping it ourselves. It just wasn't working out logistically and manpower wise. So we did have a lot hauled off this year to get us back down to a manageable level. We did use the budget to, I don't think there's anything left in that, might be pennies left in that budget, but that line, but that, you know, we did get rid of that.
Says you're at 2,500 right now, year to date.
Okay,
Yeah, you have
Oh.
room, you could
so
do
there is some, okay,
$1,000.
yeah.
We're burning it now, so.
Yeah, so we actually built a burn pit. Okay, and we had a bunch of, they're not Jersey berries, the big cement blocks. They were out back, there was like the leftover blocks that were not much good for anything else, not structural or anything. So we built a big area that we can pile brush in and burn it. We are waiting for a permit from the state. We have approval from the state and approval from the town's fire chief. We did do one session of burning with his approval. Went well. We feed it with a backhoe. It's done off times when the transfer station's not open. And on a rainy, gloomy day when we can't be out doing anything else. Which I'm kinda hoping for one of those pretty soon, because we got a pile of brush to burn. But it worked well.
The only concern was that, the reason why it stopped was because of C&J.
And we talked to them.
So we have very good neighbors
Yeah.
with them, so we
We
need to
talked to them
ensure.
prior to doing any of this first, and
We
they,
watched.
you know, Mike and everything said, a lot of vehicles were outside at the time, now most of the stuff's undercover.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
he says, and if you're paying attention, I mean, we didn't even have no ash falling. you know.
yeah,
No,
okay,
no. We did it on a day that was quite drizzly. Everything had been wet, so there was no problem that way. As you know, he was a firefighter. I'm still a firefighter. Mike that works for us is a firefighter. We're very much in tune to brush fires or fires of any type.
mhm,
I actually fought the idea of doing a burn pit,
mhm.
because I just didn't like the idea, but we came to an understanding and we did it. And it's working.
Good.
So I hit a little crow on that one. So, but, no, it did work out well. The fire department had some old hose that they brought us down.
Mhm.
So when we do it, we stretch a hose out from the hydrant right to the pile, and if something happens, we're right there. So, it's not left unattended, and it's out when we're done, so. So it's worked out well doing that. But I am leaving, I think I did leave that number, and, I took that down to $1,000.
Mhm.
And that's mainly just to help with the manpower doing it,
Mhm.
so. You know, if we're out there and we wanna break out that number, we could,
Mhm.
so. So that did decrease. Where I left off here. Glass has actually worked out really well.
Can we go back up to hazardous waste disposal?
Sure.
Did that ever get advertised that that was last weekend?
It did get advertised, well, I
I
don't know if
didn't
it
see
went
it.
out over the email, but it was
I didn't
sent, you know, we sent it for posting via email. It was posted in paper here and at the post office.
Not through the.
And I put it on the town calendar,
Okay.
but I don't know whether or not she ever sent it out. I did send it to her.
So do
think
we
I've
have to
seen
pay
emails.
whether or not, if we had no Rollinsford people went there, do we still have to pay?
That I don't know,
No,
I've
it-
never been involved in it, and
we
I didn't
pay,
even know it was
um,
last weekend.
Yeah, I think it was last weekend.
Yeah, we,
Somebody missed the vote on that one.
Yeah.
so there was a big, you know, we had Dover and we had a miscommunication and they followed up at like 2 weeks before. We did not do as well with communication as we should have done, for sure.
Okay.
But we will pay only proportionately with regard to how many Rollinsford residents participated in the whole event.
Okay.
So it's,
Paul was telling them at the transfer station that they were doing that day on Saturday, so
Mm,
I know if people had stuff,
mhm.
you know, if they had the time to go do it, that's the whole thing, without being.
it's only a half a day, once a year, you know, it's not.
Yeah, but I didn't know about it at all until Harry told me, oh, that was last weekend. I said, really? I mean, I didn't see anything through email or anything, so.
I didn't see it via email either, and, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll be better by that next year.
It'd be good, because
Yeah,
I did not know about it,
yeah,
so I probably should have.
yes, you should,
Apologize.
yeah,
It's okay.
okay.
We'll-
It was in the newsletter.
Yes, it was.
Oh, you mean the one in June, or whenever it was? Yeah, well, that was.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because if we had known, we could have posted it.
Yeah,
couple of
well,
weeks
down there,
prior.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so,
Yeah, upcoming. Yeah.
all right, go ahead.
Glass. Okay, so last year we decided in the MS, when we were still doing single strain, we pulled the glass out of the single strain. And that, of course, lightens the load. Glass is one of your heavier commodities to get rid of.
Mhm.
There's a lot of glass generated in this town, whether it's, it's all kinds of different bottles and jars. So, rather than paying the $68.50 a ton to get rid of glass in MSW or in single stream, we were paying more than that for single stream. We can get rid of glass at $35 a ton by hauling it as a separate commodity. Initially, it was going to Wakefield, New Hampshire. This is all set up through NRRA, where it's stockpiled, and then they bring a grinder in, and they grind it up into little 3/8 inch pieces. You can virtually pick it up, put it in your hands like this, and not cut your hands. It's used in road beds, under hot top. It needs to be covered if it's being used anywhere near a road because of its reflectivity. If it's on the edge of the road and you're driving along, you got this stuff flickering there, it's not good, so. Wakefield became overrun. They set up a new agreement with Waste Management in Rochester. I did haul one load to Wakefield with our truck, and I found it more cost effective to put it in a dumpster, a 30-yard dumpster. We take the backhoe, we crush it down, we haul 12 to 13 ton at a time, and I have Triano take it up for $225. And it's worked into the budget. It's done probably 4 times a year. So it's not a lot of money, and it's the best way to do it. Taking it up in our truck, we have to take it out of the dumpster, we have to put it in the dump truck, cover it and haul it. This way, they come in, one haul, done.
You're probably hauling 1 or 2 ton.
Yeah, I'm hauling a fraction of what they would haul.
Mhm.
So this 1350 is for the tonnage only, not the hauling, not Triano's cost?
We get done.
Down that line.
919.
Oh, the glass recycling, that is most likely, I wish I knew.
Actually, your narrative says it.
I was gonna say, what is
Sorry.
Plus 225.
Yeah.
So you probably do need to up your your hauling of recycling, because your proposal's only gonna pay for glass and not for,
Right. So I think the glass itself, I just figured as part of the MSW, but, yeah, so. That's the one thing that I found, I mean, I've been over this budget so many times, it's starting to blur, but where we had before 3 components to it, we now have many components. So once I get the budget done, it's like, oh, God, no, wait a minute, I forgot about X, Y, Z, that goes, so. I've only been in this position for just a year. Yeah, I took over, I think, last June as the manager of the transfer station.
I only lived here for a year and I love the transfer station. so.
Good, that's good to hear. That's what we try to achieve.
So that is only the tonnage then, right? You don't have the 250 in
I
there?
probably don't, no.
Okay, so you need to modify that.
Okay.
So shouldn't you leave the 250 in the glass recycling and not have it in MSW, right?
Yeah, I can,
Okay.
I'll make sure that all ends up in the one line, under glass
Okay.
recycling. Yeah. So.
Okay,
Okay, so anyway, yeah, so like I said, that's one of our better things where it does save quite a bit of money, so. The demo is still a moving target that we're working feverishly to try to hit. In my narrative in the paperwork, the letter form I gave you, it says it's based on 120.5 tons, it's actually based on 180 tons. What I did is I changed the budget side of it, but didn't change it on the handwriting side. And about 5.5 ton of a buffer, which isn't a huge buffer, but, and it's about 2 extra hauls, because that average is about in between 2 and 3 ton per container. Mixed paper, I'm gonna double check that number. That's the other thing that I got from NRRA late this afternoon, after we had the haul last week, when they took our mixed paper. That's the first time this year we've had that hauled. That's the second time we've had it hauled, because we had cardboard and paper hauled once. I don't have the exact number with me tonight for what that cost us. It wasn't huge money, it was, I wanna say it was under 4 ton of paper. I think the cost was $30 a ton, if I have my memory right. But, so I'm just gonna double check that one,
okay.
so. And all these, unfortunately, all the rates that we pay to have this done changes on a monthly basis.
Mhm.
Some of it changes by pennies, but as you see the difference between 4 cents and 5 cents a ton, it's $20.
Mhm.
So it doesn't take long to add up, because we have a lot of weight of everything we get rid of, so. The only other thing is storage space. Well, based on the above button, just step back up a sentence here. So we're a little more than 27, probably closer to 29, no, 27,300 up, based on what I had given you initially. And I'm only changing that because of, I had a wrong number, the 20,000 is 27,050, but we also have the additional taxes on,
Mhm.
so that's up a couple $100, so. So it is up significant from the year before, which has been it's been a big heartache for me trying to figure out where, why, and what. And I don't have a clear answer, except for the fact that we know we have more weight that we're disposing of. And it's time to translate over, so. The other thing, talking about storing this stuff and all this, to get a load, we need 22 pallets of mixed paper, makes a truckload. About 44 bales of cardboard, 44 bales of cardboard makes a load. You don't wanna ship the stuff half loaded. You wanna get a tractor trailer in and ship a whole load. The mixed plastic, we're not positive on yet, because I need to know what a bale weighs. so we don't overload the truck. So what it means is we've gotta have some places to keep this stuff. Trailers and ground containers are not all that easy to use for doing what we're doing. It's great for stuff you're putting in by hand, not so much if you're trying to load it with the skid steer with a set of forks. You end up just making more of a mess and breaking nails, and that was one of the things that I talked to Lee about, and they were having issues with that. They also have a building that's big enough to work undercover, which would be ideal, but we're not doing that. We can't afford that. That's not even in the game plan. They're building 2 lines of cars right into the building, and that's how they dump everything off,
Underneath,
undercover.
undercover.
It's beautiful, but and it's 2 level. If you drive in up top, everything's thrown down below. The guys are running around down below taking care of it, but in a perfect world, yeah, but we don't live in a perfect world. So, we make do with what we can do, so. But down the road somewhere, we do need another building. We've got the Quonset hut that's there, and that normally was just cardboard and spare storage for whatever needed to go in there. Now we've put cardboard in there, we've got plastic in there, and we've got the mixed paper. And it's busting at the seams.
So why did you take the Quonset huts off of your CIP project?
To revamp what I'm trying to do. It wasn't gonna work the way that I originally thought. I wanted a Quonset hut out back to cover some things, but looking at it, it's like, do we do little bits of things here and there? Or do we just come up with a game plan to do it once, without this little series of buildings you gotta run around in? So, I didn't know I actually took them off, I thought they were still sitting there, but,
It's sitting there with $0.
With $0.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, I don't think I had any dollars on them before.
but I think she said that it was a change that,
Well,
We're
because
gonna
we talked
require
about building wooden covers for those tires and.
Yep,
paper
appliances,
Appliances.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
Which would be, not even a CIP.
yeah, that
there
we
was
can.
not enough money.
That we can do under $10,000 to do those things. And the same, we do need to cover the recyclables, okay? But that's, we just got a quote the other day for the rafters to do that. And I think it was, what, $2,200 for rafters?
And then
And,
we just gotta get the quote for the metal.
yeah, so I think we're well under $6,000 to do that by the time we put the metal. The walls virtually are already there, it's the dividers. But now thinking about separating out the plastics, I may have to move the glass to the, as you're driving up, everything is on the left. The glass may have to move to the right, which is really easy, it's a container. It just slides over there. And push come to shove, I can put a little roof over that easy, a cheap and dirty thing for that. But it means that I may have to put another set of Jersey barriers in and put another wall up to make another bin for the plastic. So that's just simply gonna add, what, 4 trusses to do that, so. But we haven't built anything yet, so it's really easy.
Well, that's what you're talking about when you're separating like
one
the
or
two that you
Yes.
can get money for and then the rest of them go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plastic has to be undercover, and we're fortunate with the Quonset hut there now, that we have, we're able to keep it undercover. UV rays destroy the plastic, as you know, the way outside plastic toys are, or even rakes you leave outside, so you gotta keep the sunlight off of them. And we're able to do that in the Quonset hut. So, as we get closer to the front of it, which we're just about there now, we're just gonna throw a tap over what's there, just to keep the light off of it. But, like I said, that building was designed for one product, and we've now got 3 in there. So, but the back of my head, I'm thinking kind of where our demo bins are now, between there and the hot top, put up a building. Just put up a storage building there. I don't have any numbers for it yet, so, a metal building, a pole barn actually would be the best thing. All it is storage. So, project number 22 is to get pricing on that, so I can move that. It's not moving forward this year, so I would love to, but it's not logistically feasible, I don't think, to get those numbers and try to plug something into that this year.
Okay.
And we'll just make do. so, which we try to do.
Well, thank you very much.
So unfortunately, my budget is a moving target.
Yeah,
And the other bad part is, it's a necessity.
right.
I can't tell somebody, no, you can't throw that away, we're out of money.
Mhm.
So I have to
Yeah.
try to make it work somehow. And I try to bring as much income in as we can with what we have. July to date, I think this goes to the end of July. Caroline had did me up a report. Looks like we brought in just a little over $16,000 this year. Now that's for that's for demo, that's for electronics that people have paid to throw away. The aluminum, the tin, the scrap metal pile. Actually, we just got a check today for just over 400, was it? For the scrap metal pile. Are they gonna pick that up? So, it all helps,
Yes, it does.
yes. If it could go back into my budget, that would be the way, but that isn't the way towns work. It goes into the
General fund.
general fund and then you pull it back out as you need next year.
Yeah.
So,
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
so thanks.
Bob, we're about a half an hour delayed.
So,
You welcome to stay or come back. I don't, how windy are you gonna be?
Mine's gonna be quicker. It's,
Okay, so, I'll say, okay,
Thank you.
I just wanted to forewarn you. All right, thank you. Good work. All right.
I have a narrative,
Mhm.
and, we're looking at put on another part-time, permanent part-time, like Mike, for the days when he's not around, so we can continue doing projects and have the help. You know, we're doing a lot more projects than was ever done in here in the department, so we're trying to, you know, we need the extra manpower to do that. Whether it be using Paul, you know, working this out somehow to put him on a transfer station, highway department situation, you know, but we definitely need more manpower when we're doing the major projects that we're doing. And we wanna continue to do that, we get sidewalks that need repairs that we can do, and, you know, a lot of other, projects that have to be done.
How many
Yes.
hours does Paul work now at the transfer station?
16.
And he can't work,
So that will be 40, which,
no, he
Can't
can't work
do-
40.
what that would be
No,
40.
right, no, that's what I mean, it's
Oh,
somebody
okay.
like.
He's, re-
Oh,
he's,
like, I
yeah,
thought
he's
you meant-
retired and can only make so much
Somebody,
money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
But this part-time person could also fill in at the transfer station for other, you know, help out over there, so we could split the cost or whatever you wanna do with that. That is a thought, you know, we wanna continue doing projects, we wanna try to get, more done as we can. So I've already, you know, asking for one more part-time position. It is an $18,000 increase. However, we did cut back on a few other items. Equipment fund, we dropped it down 5,000. I dropped the, vehicle maintenance down 5,000 because the vehicles are newer. We shouldn't be having that much maintenance on them. It shows that it's only a it's a $21,000 increase, but it also doesn't show that where I dropped the 5,000 from equipment, vehicle repair, didn't show the negative, so it's probably a $16,000 increase in the whole budget.
Yeah, this sheet says 16,655.
See, my printout here, when I did it on the computer,
Oh,
it shows,
oh,
it didn't reverse it, so it must have picked it up.
Which line are you talking about?
The total overall change.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't have the, I did the one originally, I don't, it didn't pick up on one $5,000 decrease.
On yours, but it doesn't
Oh,
here.
right, okay, so I have an increase of 18,184 in the highway department.
I see 16,655.
But that probably isn't payroll taxes or?
So,
That's right, it doesn't include the payroll taxes and,
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
gotcha.
because I didn't,
What did you have, Caroline? 18?
18,184, and payroll taxes are 10,388. So,
Okay.
yeah, 10,388, which is based on the highway part-time and full-time
Yep.
lines as proposed, that's an increase of $1,427.
$1,427?
Yes, for payroll taxes.
Okay, that includes the part-time employee that he's
Right,
asking for in addition?
Right, that's all the payroll lines in the.
And I did not put in for the raise, I'm leaving that up to you people, and I moved the paint line, I took the paint out of the paint line and put it in the supply lines, so we won't have to have a separate line for that, but we did have to add $1,000 so we can do the line striping, which was not, it was only $1,500 in here for line striping, but that was just based on paint for this year. But we wanna do the yellow line, so that's about a $2,500 price tag, so we had to raise that line,
The long lines,
the long lines.
What does that mean?
streets,
The
the
yellow lines,
down Bear
Well, I
Road.
thought you told me you couldn't do those.
we can't, that's why I had to make that line.
Oh,
with
you're
the
saying
money.
this is going outside to some,
That
with
line
somebody?
striping will be
It's
there.
outside
And the
people,
paint,
okay.
and not knowing how much paint it was gonna take to do our stripe, next year we probably won't have to buy paint. I got 5 gallon pails of paint left, so we should be all set for next year as far as buying paint out of supplies.
Okay.
Street sweeping, we had to add 1,000 for a second street sweeping
Because of stormwater.
because of the stormwater. And I tried to keep the road maintenance in at the 350, hoping to be able to finish Sligo Road and do the top coat on Woods Run. Whether that's your plan or not, that's what I'm proposing for next year.
So you would go from, what's that road that you stopped?
Pinch Hill
Pinch Hill
Route
to
4.
Route 4.
Finish
That whole road.
grind that section and do like we did this year. Just base it in. Top coat the full Woods Run.
Did they get any top coating? No,
No.
no, it was only
No.
Heritage and
No,
Moses
and
Car.
that- Next year
Okay.
we do that Woods Run. And whatever we have money left for it, see if we can overlay a few streets in town after I talk, when we sit with, when we meet with Pike on what we're gonna do.
Is there any other, any other priorities within town as well that are pretty,
Jesse Doe's gonna need to be rebuilt,
Jesse Doe?
yeah, going into the transfer station,
It's gonna, why?
because it's all breaking up. That's not, I mean, it was on the schedule, I guess, but we have to look at that schedule, we have to sit down and go over the road schedule
Okay.
and see what's next, but I
Is
mean,
that because of the heavy duty
yeah,
pieces
it
of
was not
equipment?
designed for,
For heavy duty equipment? Us, C and
Everything-
J,
everything there.
is that two
Everything else
businesses
One
that are
road.
there?
it's all trucks.
All trucks, all heavy trucks?
And Mike told us it was built the same way everything else was built in town, it wasn't designed.
Well, it was short-sighted, wasn't it?
They
Okay.
used gravel, they had sand there they used, and it wasn't the proper bases and all that stuff when they built the project, so that's what we were told,
Yeah,
and it's showing it.
okay.
Uh,
All right, but there's no other roads in town that are really disaster, I mean,
No, I think Jesse Doe's gonna be the next worst one, we gotta start thinking about overlaying some of the others, and we can get away with just overlaying.
yeah, okay.
I mean, some of them down here are gonna probably have to be ground down because everything's lifting and just revamping them like Third Street and stuff, you can see where the sides are collapsing and stuff. Again, it's all, you know, the way things were built back in the day.
How long ago were those roads put
Right,
in?
and what, you know,
Haven't
they've
been done
been
in a good long
existing, you know, they
time,
haven't been
so
I
done, so,
don't know.
I think they've lasted for,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, I mean,
but they don't have the traffic, flow. Well,
Yeah.
South does probably, but the others don't have as
South
much
Street's
traffic.
been done when they did the
That was the
curbing
more
and all
recent
that.
one.
Yeah,
down
yeah.
there.
That area's been done, so.
it's not always the traffic, it's just the winter cycle, the
Yeah.
freeze, the thaw,
Right,
the, you know.
right, okay.
But we do have to look at this road schedule. So basically, I left everything pretty much the same with a few, I did put in $6,000 for equipment rental, so we could rent the excavator again to finish doing some shoulder work next year on Sligo, or anywhere else where we get the time to do it with. And that can be taken out, you know, that's only gonna probably be a 1-year thing.
So where did money come out this year? Is it, Where was it?
We took it in the road money, we could probably do the same thing next year.
Oh.
I just wanted to have
Oh,
that
okay.
line here in case.
Because I know we did it twice, so I didn't know where, it came out of the road project.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we
This
decided.
probably could probably come out of the road project too then. couldn't
Right, I mean, Sligo Road section that we're gonna do next year is shorter.
It depends every year what you're doing for projects, what
Yeah.
the project cost is, and what you're budgeting for the project
it?
cost,
Yeah,
whether there's enough in there. So,
yeah.
you know, maybe even, you know, if you think it can come out of road maintenance, you know, you can even create the line and put a dollar in it, just so that
Just
it,
so we have a place to, yeah, a place
To
for it,
track it.
yeah. All right, we'll talk about that another
Right,
time.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But, I tried to keep it down, you know, as well as we could without,
Okay.
but I don't see anything out of the ordinary that, you know, that we need to do,
Okay.
so.
Okay. Any questions, guys?
No,
Mhm.
short and sweet.
Alrighty, good.
This
All
guy
right.
was Mr. Doolin.
Well, that was very informative.
Well,
I really
yeah.
appreciate that.
And, yeah, and anytime any of you wanna stop over
Yeah.
there, you know,
Well, we want
You're
to
on our
have
list. Yep.
our little meeting, so you guys have to get back to us on the day and time that,
I think after transfer station closes down on Monday nights, we can do it on Monday, like probably the end of September, first, you know, first part of October, if you wanna do that.
that's fine, that's fine.
And I'll get a hold of the other guy, all the guys, and see if they're willing to do it.
Okay.
we've only got one more Monday night that will be open over there. We're closed this coming Monday for Labor Day.
Okay, and then you have one
The
after
next
that.
is, yeah, we have one more, and then we go back to winter hours.
You do that in September?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the 15th, actually the 16th this year.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, guys.
Thank you.
We'll get back to you.
Oh, yeah, what do you want?
Hello.
Is this a new one? Is it changed?
A couple of figures we got changed out. Okay. Generally, for the department, all the line items stay status quo. You know, I'll start with the non-payroll items. We're moving the money from the court witness fees, $500 to overtime. That's now because the state no longer pays police officers to testify in court, so it has to come out of our overtime account. Just another push down from the state.
How does it work with, if you have a witness that's a non-employee, do they get paid from the state, or, so that's not something we have to take care of? That didn't go away?
Right.
Okay.
And the equipment line item, I added $6,000 so we can purchase and install a updated in-cruiser camera with a new car for next year. The one that's in there now is a 2005, and it's actually on its last leg. And actually, when I meet with you guys at the next meeting, I'm going to ask them to make an emergency purchase of an in-cruiser camera this year out of our surplus, because I now have a camera that's down in one of the cars. The full-time line item, I did 3% across the board. I know we had talked before, having some discussion as to, you know, how we're gonna do the pay raise in the future, so we're competitive, cost of living versus merit pay and whatnot, so you know, I think we need to continue that discussion as to how we do that. But at this point, I put 3% in across the board. Doesn't mean everybody will get 3%, but there's 3% in there with that line item.
What do you mean, does it mean that they wouldn't get it?
Well, if we don't add something, like another line item for merit or whatever the case might be, the pay would be based upon their performance. You know,
See,
so-
that's where I
so-
think we got in trouble.
Well, the person who does very well shouldn't, not, or should get a rate higher than the person who just gets by.
How do we get in trouble?
Well, our salaries for some positions
Oh,
didn't
you
get
mean how we-
annual updates, like, to keep up. And so then our position, not our people, our positions were starting to go backwards.
But we shouldn't be rewarding poor performance.
No, I
Well,
know that,
that's
I'm
why,
not really
that's why I'm
saying
thinking maybe
that,
have two separate line items, one cost of living, so everyone every year would get a minimum of whatever the
but-
figure is.
Yeah,
And then you have another line item for merit-based.
yeah,
It really shouldn't just be for the police, it should be for all the town employees
Yeah.
as well. You know, whether you have one line item in the town portion that, or it has to go for each individual department, I'm not sure. I mean, that's something that you folks work out with Caroline, but you're right, so we don't get to the point where we did this year, not with the police, but other employees in the town here that, you know, we really need to consider, what are we gonna do in the future when it comes to the pay raise for everybody?
yeah, because I mean, you just don't wanna go, keep on going backwards because you're
Well,
not
we
getting
just
the.
sort of fixed this, right?
We fixed it,
We
so I don't
fixed
wanna
it
go
for now, right,
backward.
we don't wanna go backwards. correct.
Right, and that's why I wanted to ask you about your part-time, because you're not making a change on them. And
I'm not, and again, you know, we have the fifth full-timer, and the long-term plan is to use the part-timers less.
Mm-hmm,
You know, in the last couple of years, we were so short-handed, we've been depending on the part-timers to actually work in place of a full-timer. In the future, the part-timers will mainly be covered when someone's sick, work a second car when needed. You know, if I have someone that's going to the academy for a couple of weeks or a couple of days for
Mhm.
advanced schooling, they cover. But they would not be covering the road for routine patrols like they are now. So that's why I have not increased that.
so would you still give them a percentage increase?
Right, they would
Because
still
you're
get an
asking for
increase.
the same amount of
Same,
money?
right, they're getting an
So you're
increase, but
getting
we're just
increase-
we're just getting a
Okay.
few hours less from them per year.
Okay, then I'm happy with that,
So.
okay.
So it comes to my line item. As you remember, the letter that I sent to you folks months ago, and on page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somewhere there should be a sheet showing, oh no, I don't think I wrote it up. The pay
It might
rates-
be in your
the pay
original
rates for the
narrative,
chiefs.
because they have your
So they're
original,
okay.
Do we?
it's a
Well,
spreadsheet.
it's the back of it.
It's the back.
Oh.
It's the very back of it.
I am the longest serving police chief in Stratford County. The next police chief, who's Durham, was hired 4 years after I, and the majority of the police chiefs after that in the county have 10 years or less in the job. And I am the second lowest paid police chief in the county. So having said that, and, you know, back, and just give a little history, back in 2008, again, we're in a position where we're shorthanded and we needed to have another full-time police officer, but the only way that was going to happen was for me to go part-time, so you didn't have to pay my benefits. That would allow us to hire someone at a much lower rate and pay for that benefits to get the full-time officer here. So since 2008, you haven't had to pay me vacation, you haven't paid me sick time, you haven't paid me holiday pay, or any additional compensation for any hours that I worked above and beyond what I should have been doing. And this year, you stop paying the Social Security. 3 years ago, we did a line item adjustment for the lieutenant's position, and this year, we did a line item adjustment for all of the remaining full-time police officers. So in the last couple of years, everyone in the police department with their adjustments got at least between $6,000 and $7,000 increase for their pay. And we're fortunate to be able to do it this year. We didn't have to increase the line item at all, so there was no increase to the budget. Everyone got a decent pay raise without increasing the budget whatsoever. So I think it's time to look at the chief and say, you know, chief, it's your turn. So what I did is I took the amount of the 6.2%, which was what the town was paying for Social Security for me. So that's roughly $3,312 per year. And added that to my salary line item. So there's no change here. I mean, you were gonna pay it one time, now that you're not paying it, I'm just asking that you just now give me the money. And a $5,000 adjustment for the line item itself, for the chief's position. And actually, I will email you that, one that I prepared with all the chiefs out. I don't know what that happened to that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that from
Yeah.
March.
The only chief that makes less to me is the chief in Middleton, and actually don't have a chief right now, they have an acting chief. And they've gone through several chiefs in the last few years. You know, my department is larger than Middleton, it's larger than Madbury, it's larger than Stratford, it's larger than New Durham and Middleton. And those departments don't offer 24/7 coverage. They have folks go home at nighttime and take call, or the state police cover. Madbury is a entirely part-time police department, and the state police cover their serious stuff. So I think when you encapsulated all of it, that I think I'm deserving of something. You know, whether or not you agree with what I put in there, but I think it's time to look at this position. And in a couple of years, or whenever I do decide to really retire, it just makes it that much easier when you hire the next person, because you don't have to increase the budget that much more to get someone who's qualified in here to replace me.
Yeah.
So,
What is the going rate for if we had to go out and replace you with a full-time chief, or?
I think you're looking
75,
at,
80,000?
at least $40 an hour anyway, if you want to get someone who's decent.
And experienced.
Yeah, so you're talking 83,200.
Mm,
So,
That's a full timer.
that's a full-time, yes. Yes.
Plus,
But then, because then you're looking,
Then you're
right,
looking at benefits
then
as
you're looking
well.
at benefits as well on top of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So.
exactly.
okay.
But everything else is status quo. I anticipate that, just like this year, most of it will be spent on all of the line items. Except, there'll be a couple like hazardous cleaning. I don't think we've even taken anything out of that as of yet, but it's nice to have that there, just in the event that something happens. I did notice that in this copy here, that it was removed, though, and that just may have been made a mistake.
Oh, on the spreadsheet?
Yeah, in the spreadsheet right here. But I'm suggesting that we keep it in there, so if something does happen.
I'm
And, you
sorry,
know,
what
there
did you
may
say
be a
was
couple-
removed?
The hazardous cleaning
Yeah, you remove the
for
hazardous
five
cleaning,
hundred.
and actually remove the DARE as well. And
Oh,
we are,
alright.
we are planning on hopefully doing DARE in 2020.
I see.
That was
See,
an
we-
oversight, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure
yeah,
it was, I'm sure it
Yeah, we
was,
see
yeah.
it here.
I just noticed it a half an hour ago.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to talk to
All right, thank you.
So,
Caroline earlier today.
DARE is, do you have a qualified officer to do that?
Well, no, we'll bring someone in, probably from the Sheriff's Department,
Okay,
like we did the last couple of times.
yeah,
Yeah, so.
okay.
And generally, with the DARE supplies, we buy half of it in 1 year, then the other half the following year.
Mhm.
So prior to December, we'll purchase the books and the pens and the pencils and all the little stuff that they get.
Yeah,
And next year, the certificates and the bears and whatever that they give out for the graduation, and the
Mhm.
cost of the graduation itself,
okay,
so.
all right.
Dispatch won't go up?
There is a little bit of room in there,
Okay.
because in 2019, we actually increased it,
Oh, I see.
and they didn't charge us. Again, I don't understand their billing, because they gave us a discount of 5%, and then they charge us an additional 5%. So we actually paid, in the long run, we actually paid a couple dollars less this year than we did the prior year.
Yeah,
But in the Chiefs meeting that we just had, we actually recommended to the commissioners, because the Sheriff's Department radio fund is in dire need of upgrading the entire county as well. So we said, you know, don't give us a discount if you're gonna be asking for more money.
mm-hmm,
Keep it, but just, you know,
Apply it to that.
increase the 5% and apply it to
Yeah.
that. So I think they finally get the message that hopefully they won't give us a 5% decrease, but also increase it by 5%.
mm-hmm,
Because they're only defeating their own purpose.
Mhm.
It doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
Is it based on usage or just like,
It's based on the population
Just
of the community.
just our
Yeah,
select?
so large communities pay obviously significantly more than we do.
Mhm.
So any questions on the police portion?
Can I talk about social security? Is that, have you been contributing social security?
I had been from 2008 up until this month, I had been, yes.
So I contacted the,
We might be in
It's up
No.
to him.
public.
okay,
Well-
never mind.
I don't care.
Okay, go ahead.
I contacted the, state social security administration, I know you talked to them a little bit also, maybe regarding section 218, I don't know exactly. And they said it was actually illegal for a rehired annuitant, part-time rehired annuitant, or full-time to contribute social security, because you don't get any return on it. It doesn't go towards your social security wage base. So there might be, I don't know, but some sort of, she sent me, just because we were inquiring, I was inquiring, forms that we can do to correct it. I think they can do past 3 years. But it doesn't, you don't get any years of service towards your social security, so it's kind of like throwing away money.
Well, see, I've been there several times, and depending on what office you go to, you get different answers.
Yeah.
And I did bring up the part about the, you know, the rehire, and, you know, one person says, yeah, you know, you're not supposed to be contributing. And, you know, the Portsmouth office says, yeah. It says you don't have, you don't, you're not required to participate, but you can if you want to.
Okay.
So that portion, I guess I'm not too concerned about at this point, because obviously I don't want to penalize the town, and, you know, at some point, have Social Security come out to town and say, hey, you've been paying all this time, and, you know, it doesn't mean anything now, so.
Yeah, there was an option there, and somewhere built in where they say you can pay as a town, and Rollinsford itself actually has an agreement with the state, Rollinsford, the specific town, saying that any positions that are employed by the police office, by the police department, that are not actual police officers, they can contribute if they want. Yeah, that's what I read.
You mean like the dog catcher or something like that?
Or administrative staff. I'm
Or your
assuming.
staff, that's true, I
Yeah.
forgot about that,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And we opted into that in like the 90s or something.
Yeah. See, they did not mention any agreement when I went down, I spoke with them, so.
You have a copy of that?
Yep, they sent me a bunch of
You want her to
documentation.
send that to you?
Yeah, if you would.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have my card and my email, so.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, good. Okay, so,
And actually, if you go to page 3, it actually gives you an explanation of all the changes. For my position, the full-time position, court witness fees, equipment.
So the in-dash camera, is that usually part of outfitting a new cruiser?
Yeah, that's generally when we purchase the camera, when you get the new cruiser.
Okay.
All the cameras that we have, with the exception of the one that's in the 7.2, were all purchased in 2005 and I believe 2006.
Okay, so they're,
So they're fairly old.
it's kind of amazing they're still functioning.
so, is this saying that, the digital fingerprint system is coming up, that you will be getting that next year through CIP? Is that what this is saying?
Okay, do you want to go to page 2 first? Go
Oh,
animal
I'm
control.
sorry, where were we, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, page 2, animal control.
Yeah,
I just added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 6 hours to her salary line item.
but you don't have a rate increase for her, right?
Well, yeah, she will. Yeah, she'll get
Oh,
something.
she'll get-
She will get something, yes.
Oh, okay.
But for the animal control, it's a total of $76 for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
No change to emergency management, homeland security, and the FEMA reimbursements. And now we get into the capital improvement.
Mhm.
I had previously asked for a cruiser for 2020, to lease the second car, and 2 cameras. I felt it'd be better to purchase 1 camera each year, because I was afraid if we asked for $12,000 and the folks said no, then there's no way for me to get a camera to replace anything for the cars. So that's why I went with 1 per year and put it in the police budget instead of the capital improvement plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved the digital fingerprint system from 2021 down to 2020.
Okay.
And I'll give you an explanation about the cruiser, with aging fleet, recommend a 3-year lease for the vehicle beginning in 2020, as well as equipping it, and then also we'd have the payment for the 2nd-year lease for the 2019 year. So that's a total of $35,000. It's actually less than $35,000, $35,000. The digital fingerprint system obviously increases officer safety as opposed to the old print and fingerprint. Only one set taken rather than 4, reduces redundancy, is more accurate, eliminates errors, eliminates rejections from the FBI, which happen quite frequently, and eliminates ink, mess, and cleaning within the police department.
Okay.
So we get the 3-year plan for the police department. Personnel, no additional full-time police officers. I anticipate a significant change in personnel in the part-time area. We have some dead weight now, and I'd like to change that. No increase in the approved 6 part-time positions, and to begin, consider adding an admin person to handle data entry and walk-ins, and consider eliminating our volunteers. Okay. For
For
vehicles.
consistency, to make sure that.
Well, for consistency, and because they're there so few hours, they don't grasp everything that needs to be done by that person at that window. But
Mhm.
one person does one thing, one does one thing, one does one thing, and the other person does one thing. So we don't have a chance to open the door to allow someone to walk in and have business done with them. They have to ring the buzzer and the officer goes out if they're within the building.
Okay.
So I think in the long run, it will offer consistency, and, we won't get as many complaints. By the time we go to the police, the door's always locked,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
Vehicles, continue leasing, new vehicles in 20 and then 21. And then at that point, evaluate and determine whether we might be able to skip a year if the mileage remains lower than the current trend. So we don't have vehicles with 125,000 miles, 145,000 miles. And just keep in mind, now we do have the additional full-time office who will be adding mileage to the overall fleet, okay? Long-term from equipment, computers. In the email that we received from Tom Lavelle about changing to Microsoft as well, he's also recommending that we update all of our computers downstairs because the new Microsoft 10, one, will be more difficult to install, but also it may not run at peak efficiency with the computers that we have downstairs.
Well, how old are your computers downstairs?
Probably 8 or 9 years old at this point. So the plan is to purchase as many as I can with surplus from this year, so it doesn't affect the overall budget. Digital speed signs, begin to purchase and install maybe 1 a year, and we're thinking of doing something like this. And they range from $2,000 to $5,000, and we could certainly probably absorb that in our equipment fund. What I like about this here is a good place to put a sign like this. It's solar powered and it blinks. Speed limit this would be a great place for Bear Road, to be honest with
Yeah, I was
you, with
just
all the
thinking about
issues that we're
that.
having right now.
Yeah.
So, this is less than $1,000. So depending on what the budget looks like this year, I may ask the board to purchase 2 of these for Bear Road for this year. But certainly in the future, I'd like to get at least 1 or 2 of these. They're portable, they're solar powered, so we can move them around town where we're getting issues and complaints of speeding and whatnot. Even though it's happening on every road, but this will certainly remind people to slow down when they see it flashing when you approach them. I don't know if you've ever gone through Kittery, but Kittery has several of these, and they're downtown. They work
So
very
when
well.
you're portable, what do you mean by portable? Are they?
I mean,
on a
they're mounted,
pole
they're mounted to a telephone pole, and you can leave it there for a week or 2 if you want, then you can take it off and you move it to another telephone pole, whatever the case. You move it around town to different spots,
You're allowed to put something on a telephone
as
pole?
long as we get permission, yes.
Okay.
And we've never, they've never said no to us,
Mhm.
so. Bullet resistant vest, we're gonna begin out of the uniform fund, start replacing the majority of our vests. They have a lifespan of 5 years for full-time police officers, 7 to 8 years for part-time officers. Tactical gear, we're gonna begin to purchase additional tactical vests, helmets, and shields. On July 3rd, myself and Officer Brooks went to Somersworth for a barricaded subject. And we were the only department there that did not have one of these to stand behind. So we were delegated to staying in the roadway directing traffic. Not that I'm complaining, but certainly we should have at least a couple of these available just in the event that we need them.
Mhm.
As well as helmets.
So, Sergeant, who is part of the tactical team, right?
Yes.
He must have it
They have that.
on his, when he's doing it with them though, not
He
when
does,
he's
yes.
here?
Yes, yeah. And then we're also looking to get some helmets for the staff, for the tactical situations. You know, we've been over to UNH when they've had the problems over there with the Red Sox and the Patriots and whatnot. And our guys were the only ones standing in line that did not have head protection. So
Are those bulletproof as well?
they're bullet resistant.
Okay.
Bullet resistant. And then in 2020, looking to purchase the last of the 4 in-camera video systems. And at some point, we'd like to install a digital phone system to record all phone calls coming into and out of the police department. So there is no miscommunication, there are no false claims that someone said something or whatever over the phone that they did not.
You're not already taped now?
No.
But you taped when your calls?
Yeah, when you leave,
Call the
when you leave voicemail,
Yeah.
here it's recorded, but
Okay.
once you listen to it, it's erased.
Oh,
Dispatch records all phone calls there, we don't record anything here.
okay.
Okay. So that's what the police weren't looking, no big significant purchases, so.
Have you looked into any like VoIP, like digital recording subscription systems? Like what do you use right now? Is it just a hardwired telephone?
Yes,
Have you looked?
but it
into
is a digital system, it is a digital recording system for voicemail
that you have right
that
now?
we have now, yeah.
Have you looked into any like VoIP, low cost solutions? No.
Not yet. Any questions there? And then 3-year plan for repairs and renovations to the police department. You know, certainly I'm getting the impression from folks in town that, you know, this police department is not gonna happen, at least in probably our lifetime, my lifetime. So having said that, you know, I think it's time that, you know, we need to take a look at this building here and start making the necessary repairs, repainting, and whatever needs to be done to this building. You know, it's been 20 years now, and we have walls downstairs that because of water damage, the paint's coming off, the floor, the baseboard's coming off, you know, floors need to be addressed, so, you know, if we're not gonna be looking elsewhere, then I think we need to start spending some money in this building here.
Okay, so we do have finally our whole team for space needs.
Do we?
So you're saying we aren't gonna go forward with it?
Well, no, but, you know,
I kinda got the feeling that you have too, because it's the kind of feeling I'm getting around town as well. But, I mean,
well, I think we need to, you know, either decide we're gonna go forward or not. If we're not, then we need to start spending some money on this building here
I agree.
and, you know, start making it look presentable again,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
And I give you a long list, it doesn't include everything, but obviously paint, repair a lot of things. You know, I'd like to add some insulation to the exterior walls in my office. Replace damaged missing ceiling tiles. I'd like to install a vent in the evidence room to vent everything outside directly, so that when we have marijuana and other smelly items in there, it's not permeating into the rest of the police department downstairs, it's being directed outside. Repair and pave the driveway to the garage doors, finish the garage and bring that up to code, you know, that was never completed. Some counters that need to be replaced, there's a desk or two, install a roof over the back door in the HVAC area, replace our garage doors, replace windows in the conference room with working windows, repair rust and paint exterior doors, eventually replace all lighting with LED, and probably to save some further additional savings, replace all the light switches with motion detector light switches so that, you know, officers aren't leaving the light switches on all the time. And those are some of the minor items. Then we start looking at the bigger items, upgrading the building surveillance system, upgrading the phone system. Eventually we'll have to look at that, replacing that generator, and then maybe install a carport out back so the cruisers can park underneath it in the wintertime.
Oh,
So-
over here.
Out back here, yes.
So the LED is gonna happen. We've already got a quote on it, and fire and highway and transfer station's already been approved to start immediately. And town hall, including police, is gonna happen.
Well, as soon as you all, we need to do rebudgeting to
We need to
decide
see
whether
if
or
we
not
have
you're
the
gonna
money,
pay for
because
it
we'd like to
upfront
do it
or
without
financing.
financing.
Oh, yeah, makes sense, yeah.
So, get all the pricing for it, so. Is there, go ahead,
Good, no,
is there windows in your conference room?
we have two. That's the addition on the back over here, underneath this roof right here.
Oh, okay. Alright. Are they high?
They're high, yes.
Oh, okay, so,
And they're vertical windows.
yep,
So it's very difficult for someone to stand there and look inside because they're high and
okay.
they're vertical, so.
But those are the only, you don't have any windows on the other side, right?
No. Just those two.
Just those two, and then the.
And then the lobby, the glass on the lobby door.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? How
So-
much is those, for the tactical gear, for the vest, helmets, and shields? What is the price tag on that?
The
total?
shields, you're talking anywhere between about 1,500 till about, and up, depending what threat level you get.
Yeah,
And the helmets, you're talking probably about $500.
okay. And the vest?
The vests are 800?
So is it the same thing as your bulletproof vest is?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so,
It's just the tactical vest is a more sturdy vest.
oh, okay,
It generally has a ceramic plate in it as opposed to this has the Kevlar, which is flexible.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We actually have 4 of those right now. We have one in the back of each police car, so if the officer on duty that's in that vehicle has a situation, he can grab that vest and throw it on.
The tactical
The
ones?
tactical vest,
Okay.
yes. But in the event that we call in additional officers, we need to have a couple of additional vests,
Mhm.
so.
So is there a possibility of matching grants or something with
Not for
FEMA?
that,
No, really?
No,
That's too bad. All right,
might be able to get a matching grant for the generator though.
that's, yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's a big expense as well, too. so-
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Well, this is a long list.
It is, but it's,
I appreciate you pulling it together.
Can you just give me your email address?
Oh, yeah.
One of those, when I get downstairs, I'm going to, I'll email you that thing that I did about the chiefs. Salaries for all the, I don't know what happened to that page. Must
Okay.
have stuck in the
okay.
You had that for your review. I
Thank you.
apologize for not having that.
That's okay.
It's at rollinsford.nh.
I don't know, was it J Welsh or what, I don't know.
With Jessica.
All right, thank you. Well, if you have any questions about what I presented, you know where to reach me.
Thanks,
You
Bob.
all have my cell phone and whatnot, so, and you will shortly.
Yes, thank you, I'll send you over those documents tonight.
All right, great.
Your email, your card is on my desk at work.
Okay, thank you, have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, so the only ones left is rec, and
Rec in
then,
town.
and, I'm sorry?
Rec in town.
Rec and town, yeah, town, right, yeah. All right, so
Good day.
what is our schedule next week?
So that's the question is, for Jessica and Miles, are you available? So, there are things coming up that seem to warrant another meeting. And so if you are available on the 3rd, the day after Labor Day, Tuesday, next week, we could talk about, we could,
Jessica's on
I
vacation.
can't do anything next week, no.
Yeah. She's out next week.
all right. So,
I'm fine with missing, so I'm not dedicated, and you know, if you guys have to meet otherwise, I won't be offended.
to hear rec, and you can certainly discuss the other budget information you've received. You can think about what you want to propose for an across-the-board increase, things like that. But it would be helpful to do that attached to a regular meeting so that you can handle some purchase orders and things like that.
I don't know if Rec's gonna be ready by, that's,
And it may not be,
yeah,
so.
I mean, we can certainly talk about.
But the other thing is maybe even later that week, because
Yeah.
the 9th is gonna be potentially, with the public hearing, short,
Right.
maybe, we don't know.
Yep,
So there's certainly not probably, business, regular business meeting, but probably not a lot of opportunity to talk about budget things on the 9th.
yep. Because that is our business meting.
It is a
That's not
business
That's not
meeting.
the, because we have, every other week, we have the budget, so, but we are a little behind, I think, we need to make sure we meet. I'll know more on Thursday, if we still want to, can you meet on Tuesday?
I think so.
Because planning is canceled.
Well, it got moved to the
Planning,
10th.
yeah, the 10th. Yep, I'm free.
Um, I hate to leave you out of budget though.
Yeah, I mean, especially the first go round, but if it is, you know. short
The other thing
time.
is, it could theoretically be brief, it may or may not be rec, it can, we can also just sort of touch base on Thursday or Friday and, you know, gauge the need and revisit the idea, but, 3 weeks is kind of a long stretch between business meetings at this point.
Why don't we plan for it at
Yeah,
least?
let's plan for Tuesday.
Let's keep it to an hour, or an hour and a half, or something
Yeah,
reasonable.
we'll at least be able to come in and do, sign the, you know,
Yeah,
all the stuff that is going to be coming in that have to have signatures anyway, so.
yep,
And maybe we'll have some update from rec, I hope, we'll have that, and then maybe an update from Caroline, but we won't make any decisions until you come back.
Oh, okay.
I wanna make sure that she's
Yeah.
part of the whole
oh,
process, so,
absolutely.
we'll make sure that, you know, but we can at least look at it, and maybe if there's information that needs to be, more information needs to become of
Yeah, you can certainly ask
then we
questions
certainly
and
then-
get more
then-
information.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. 6 or 6:30?
I can do either, Miles.
Yeah, I can do 6.
6, okay.
6, okay. I will
So that's
notice it.
Tuesday, the day after Labor Day at 6.
The 3rd, yes.
Okay.
Can I ask a question that I should have asked earlier? I don't know if I can because I don't hear anymore, but just on the transfer station, why was there was one line item that they were pretty highly expended right now, but they were coming down, I think it was MSW?
So MSW, because that line, really, that wasn't necessarily very clear, but right now it's a combined line of MSW and demo together.
Mhm.
So it is overexpended because you've got both of them. He's splitting it out, which is why, in that bigger
Oh, okay.
worksheet,
I knew there was something I
you'll
was
see that
missing.
there is no activity with, like, no history for demo, because it's a new line, splitting MSW and
Yeah,
demo.
I understand,
So
I
it's-
understand.
So together, it's, you know, like a $6,000 increase, I think, approximately for
Yeah.
Yeah,
combined.
Mhm.
But it shows as a loss on that one line.
Got it, yeah, thank you, I knew it was something I was missing.
Okay,
that's a good question.
so we'll meet then on Tuesday. at
Tuesday.
6.
Okay,
Okay,
good, thank you.
all right, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Good, Ed had some really good information.
That was very informative. I
That's
mean,
very
I
informative.
feel like I've heard a lot of it before.
Yeah.
It's a very dynamic department.
Yeah.
It's changing all the time and
It's the nicest
there's a lot going
transfer
on.
station.
And it's kind of a really cool puzzle about, you know, why is demo up? It's demo that's up like 50%.
I'm
So,
very curious, like,
It's just
I
amazing.
don't know,
I love
I
it.
don't know. It does seem like there's probably more.
it warrants more
Revenue.
discussion in a meeting about, we have some
But that
ideas
should be
about how
all
to
of
address
us,
it.
right? Like,
Yes,
I mean, the scale's gonna go a long way, should probably,
weighted is not,
Yeah.
so we can discuss it again in another meeting, but there are
We have
ideas
been
about
having
how to
Pick up lately.
address
with
it.
the
Yeah,
waste
yeah.
things.
And I can talk to you all individually
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
But it's nice
but I think you did a really good job,
Like-
you doing some
like
really
I
good
don't
research,
research,
so
like,
that's good.
for like
He's
a
really
month, so
put
I know
in
nothing
a lot
else,
of
like-
Yeah.
time and energy trying to figure it out, and
Ed was a select board member in the town he lives in.
Yes,
I
yes.
am horrible,
Exactly.
and I look like such a.
yeah, I
You
think
think
that
so?
helps
Because
him,
I go
yes.
home my
Okay.
wine bottles.
He just got reelected actually last
Okay.
year, so he's got 2 years left, but I
My
think that helps
boyfriend's
him
like,
have
He understands
a
what our
helpful
need is.
perspective,
Yes.
yes.
He knows what our need is, yep.
The
Yeah.
transfer station I ended up going to was in
Yeah, it's
Pittsfield,
good.
New Hampshire, oh my gosh, are they mean there,
Stretcher.
so mean.
Well, they were here.
You can hand Pittsfield?
No,
Oh, they were mean, yeah.
I have a railing on my porch and it's hideous and I don't like it, but I keep it because it allows, like I can switch my back.
Yeah.
You can hold onto the railing and put your feet on the seat and like scratch down and it's a great back stretch. It sounds ridiculous that I
Oh, right.
keep it for that reason, but did you not?
Yay.
Good night.
No, she
Good
turned it
night.
on.
I have it on.
Especially everything, this, my,